out there because today I'll be discussing My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, the Royal Pony Wedding DVD set. What? Also, Todd Berry, Super Crazy, a Comedy Central special. American Pickers Volume 4, and Pawn Stars Volume 5. Let's start with the ponies. Alright, a little bit of background on me watching this. So I've got this friend, and he's been recovering from many injuries, and he was recovering from surgery, so I went over to his house to cheer him up, and I thought, what would cheer up a guy more than watching My Little Pony, right? Well, I proved to him, like, as this show proved to me the first DVD set that I received, that this is actually really good stuff. I mean, not only are the colors incredibly bright and cheerful, the characters are pretty funny, well developed, and my goodness, the plot really has you caring. This is the main pony's brother, and he is marrying this princess character, but she's like evil and stuff, and she's trying to tell him, and everyone's like, you're being mean and you're just jealous and stuff because she's taking your brother away, and oh, there are these songs like all about how much she loves her brother, and it's like sweet and emotional, and she has to save the day, and it's just a really great story. And that's just the first 2 episodes. You get the Canterlot Wedding Parts 1 and 2. The whole running time on this is actually about 2 hours. Not too bad. This came out this year, just recently. And there's also an episode called Hearts and Hooves Day, Sweet and Elite, and The Best Night Ever. For your bonuses, you get sing-along and a coloring sheet. Where's the coloring sheet? Well, I didn't get a coloring sheet. Maybe you get a coloring sheet. Anywho, the series is as good as ever. It's probably a lot better than you remember it being in the 80s. It's just really cute and addicting, and you should give it a chance because even grown people can totally appreciate it. So if you have kids, they'll like it even more. Next we have Todd Berry, Super Crazy. This is a 60-minute special, unrated. It has some special features too. It has Todd on this like web series episode where they kind of pulled a prank on him in a college dorm room for an interview, and that was kind of weird and awkward. And the other special feature is Todd's performance on the Friars Club roast of Chevy Chase, and that actually roasts more of the other comedians there than Chevy himself, and Chevy Chase just spends his time like making sure he has Todd Berry's name spelled right. I'm assuming because he's putting a hit out on him. Feature-length special shows 15 minutes that were not included in the Comedy Central broadcast. Todd Berry's a very dry, sarcastic, kind of sardonic comedian. He seems to have a little bit of a pessimistic view on life, but his observations are pretty funny. I felt like if you stopped listening for a little bit and then came back into the program, you really didn't know what he was talking about, so you kind of have to focus a little bit more because he's not a high energy, all over the place type comedian. He's just, you know, super dry, takes his time, and I think, you know, it was alright. Next we have American Pickers Volume 4. I don't know why I get into these shows, but it's kind of fun. It has 2 discs, and it's about, how many hours? 5.5 hours worth of material. This is 8 episodes, everything from Fairlane Fever to the Emu Chase. Yeah, there's like an episode where they go to this dude's farm and they get freaked out because all of a sudden they get surrounded by farm animals and an emu is totally going to kill them. But then they realize, oh, these belong to the dude and they're not actually going to hurt him at all, and they played it up for the drama for no reason. Some interesting finds. Well, the most interesting find that they came across was the bike that this dude's always been looking for, like his dream bike. So he was very excited about getting that and securing that deal. There were also several cars they liked, but they could never reach a deal on them. Lots of, you know, metal signs and interesting locations, and a lot of times they have their girl back home. They challenge her to sell something from the shop because that's kind of how they're going to make their money while they're out like picking, because the picking is the fun part for them. The selling, yeah, what's the fun in that? It's where you make your money. Anyway, she has to figure out how to do things like sell a carnival ride that's been sitting there for flippin' ever and stuff like that. And she's still, you know, kind of, they have a joking relationship back and forth where she's mistreated, wants a raise or a manicure or something, and they just tease back and forth. So always still a fun show. And last but certainly not least, this is my favorite one from the History Channel, Pawn Stars Volume 5, where you've got Rick, Big Hoss, Old Man, and Chumley all living it up in their reality character kind of way. Rick is still mostly a really fair guy. He runs the shop. The old man and Big Hoss, they will hustle anybody. I mean, the old man is a little bit more respectful, but Big Hoss will try to just, get something for as cheap as possible. Sometimes it blows up in his face. The most difficult thing for Rick this year was he actually bought this Indian vest, and it turned out not to be real. That was a big loss for him. Other things, like they would get something and it would cost way too much to repair, so they'd have to figure out what to do with it. At one point he buys like a one-person submarine thing, which is really cool, but also, how do you find a buyer for that? That would be tough. The show also spends a lot of time showing you really cool things that they don't know how to sell afterward, and it's clearly something to just promote these sellers. Like a Batmobile, a really cool Batmobile that is like someone's loving project replicating it from the movie with Michael Keaton, and they just don't know what to do with it, so they can't make an offer. It's a bummer because the Batmobile is really cool. Also, there's this like giant transformer thing that can crush cars, and the demonstration was way cool because they took this car and they just smashed it up, and it was like watching Power Rangers or VR Troopers after everybody transforms into a big thing that does stuff. Yeah, but the guy wanted $1 million, said, oh, you could totally make it back in like 25 grand a day. Documents signed by real presidents, really cool stuff that gets authenticated. And also, the president that this family is related to, they think that he's on this piece of cloth, and then it's a real heartbreaker when it turns out to be somebody else. Because that's kind of the main reason that he bought it, because he thought it was something kind of cool. This is also almost about 6 hours of content. It includes episodes from seasons 3 and 4. 16 episodes total. And there's just other cool stuff. There was like a mandolin that could have been worth over $100,000. Chumlee gets into shenanigans. They always have him like test out the guns, see if they work, because if they blow up, at least it was Chumlee. At one point he accidentally breaks something that they take in. I just love these characters. I love how they interact with each other. Chumlee buys a car to restore and turns it into one of those like bouncing cars and makes the old man ride in it. I mean, just for sequences like that, this show is totally worth watching. I just love these characters. I love what they do in their shop, and I just think it's really fun and educational. Really cool show. So out of this group, Pawn Stars is my favorite, with a close second being the My Little Pony special. So thank you for watching my review, and I hope you'll join me next time. Bye!
If you like this review, go to my site at hauntedflowerreviews.com. I also have a podcast on iTunes. Please leave me ratings and comments. Also, we have a store, hauntedflower.com, where you can find the best online apparel and accessories from movies, TV shows, anime, and more. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/hauntedflower, and that's where we have all of our contests too, so you can win free stuff. Go to indiemojo.com if you live in Indianapolis, and you can find out how to go to free movies.